For many, organizational culture is a catchphrase, but in truth, it's an intangible but crucial success factor. And if an organization is a living, breathing entity, then culture is the backbone that holds it all together. And CHROs, or directors of HR, are the custodians and the guardians of it, even if it does belong to everyone. Today, I'm here at the Andaz Delhi to speak with Ranjana Pal, who's the Director of Human Resources at Andaz, and we'll talk together about all things people, HR, and culture. Join me in our next episode of CXO Chatter. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of CXO Chatter. I'm here with Ranjana Pal, Director of Human Resources at Andaz Hotels. Ranjana, thank you so much for joining us in conversation over here.
Thank you.
So Ranjana, we've seen so much change in the past few years. From your perspective, what are some of the key workplace trends that have impacted the larger HR space, or when it comes to even particularly the hospitality space? What are those key trends that you see playing out?
So if I had to talk about workplace trends, the current trends that you talk about is majorly the focus is work-life balance that everyone is talking about. Flexi work hours that you might be hearing. It's a crucial topics across the industry. Everyone is talking about work-life balance. And then yes, enhanced learning. At Andaz Delhi, if you talk about, we focus on all these parameters. I'm sure, with hospitality, you might be wondering how they are managing this work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because 10-20 hours is something which is very common, with our industry.
Common, yeah.
Okay, working 24 hours, so 24/7, the industry is associate working all 3 shifts. So for them, it is like very difficult. However, when you talk about the kind of balance that we give it in terms of the policies that we have got 8 off in a month. That helps, individual to rejuvenate. When you talk about work-life balance, we have got this hour restriction. We have got several breaks in between, which gives employee that breather in order to rejuvenate themselves. And then yes, we have got rejuvenation centers within the hotel for employee to learn and grow. And yes, when you talk about training, we have got several different platforms. It is hire-driven platform. It is not something curated at Andaz. However, those platforms helps individual to understand, learn, and grow. And at the end of the day, the ethos of Hyatt, is to ensure that individual grow professionally and personally growth. And that's the reason why we have a tie-up with Headspace. Headspace is an meditation, online digital platform wherein every employee can join in and, can help themselves, if they need. It is having different, learning phases in that. So that's what we do it at Andaz.
So you spoke a little bit about Headspace, you spoke about these rejuvenation centers, and you touched upon 2 P's, personal and professional. But let me touch upon another P, purpose. Trying to build that, get it from within, because of course there's one thing putting it on paper and there's another thing living that purpose. So how do you get employees to live that sense of purpose?
See, our purpose is very simple. When you talk about the Hyatt purpose, it's we care for people so they can be their best. It is something which is by default as an individual we have been brought up with. It is not something that company has invented from somewhere. We have been brought up with. When you talk about our family values, it's all about taking care of our siblings, taking care of the family around. This is something which is basic, right? So it is not something that people do not know. It is we talk about we care for people so they can be their best. When you talk about care, fellow colleagues, your senior, your junior, your vendors, interns, everyone is involved in that. And that is what the purpose is all about. And when we drive this, people understand that this is what care is all about. For us, empathy and action makes it care. That's what people do it at our hotel.
So I'm going to ask you a slightly more strategic question here, Ranjana. Historically, we've seen that the human resource function acts as an administrative piece on the chessboard when it comes to an organization. Now we've seen that the CHRO has much more of a voice in the boardroom. So how do you see that playing out, that entire shift to a more strategic voice, a strategic piece of action that helps build the organization's footprint and their presence and their way they deliver value to patrons, customers, stakeholders, everyone?
So now HR has evolved from those, administrative work here. We have evolved from that and we are now strategic business partner, wherein we ensure that we foster this basic organization success within the employees. People need to understand the goals. So the goals are being curated, created in line with the organization goal, in such a way that employee understand and execute, because the goal cannot be those strategic, those hi-fi goals
Yes.
wherein people don't understand. Okay, it
has to be within reach.
very simplified version. So we ensure as an HR that it is simplified in such a way that every down the line colleagues, employee understand those language. It should not be a language which is very difficult for anyone to understand. Okay, so that is what we do it at the hotel, wherein if we get those strategic goals, we simplified it, we ensure that it reaches down the line. The goal can be just like 330, 33, so it is people understand that we need to be in top 3 in all those high set or medallia platform. So that's what we do it, so that everyone understand.
Right.
And when everyone down the line team understand the goal, it's easy to execute because they know that this is what is expected out of them, rather than giving those heavy goals or vision in front of them. That's what we do it as an HR here.
So let me ask you something else. You've obviously dealt with employees from across age groups, Gen Z, Gen X, millennials, the lot. What are the big differences and what are the big things that are common between handling employees from these different generations?
See, common is that everyone who joined the company or who joined the organization, they are here to work. They want to grow within the system. They are here to learn and enhance their development. That's what they expect from the organization.
Right.
So as organization, what we do is that we curate our development program in such a way that they feel that, okay, the program is meant for them. Now, for every individual these days, it is all about what's in it for me.
Yes.
Rather than, just those fixed training module that you have it for across all the levels.
Correct.
What we do is that we curate the program. Example, maybe, Mr. X likes something, based on the whatever know-how the individual already have it, there is no point in reiterating those points.
Yes.
Rather than curating the program in such a way that, okay, the person feel that, okay, it is meant for me, right? That is what we do it. So it is curating the training program.
Right.
So if there is something for me, I would stick to the organization. And that's what the, retention formula that we develop here. If you talk about giving my example, I am right now on the General Manager Development Program.
Right.
Okay. That has helped me, I was always looking at the things with an HR lens across, okay.
Right.
Now the lens has changed. Yes. I am wearing a business lens which talks about...
Things become so much wider.
Yes, it's wider. And it helps me to understand not just from an HR point of view, this is what it is, from a business point of view, how it impacts. And that's what I now further talk about it to my fellow colleagues in the department, that okay, start looking things 360 degree rather than just 180 degree or HR aise bolta hai. That is something that we have evolved. And I personally feel that I have evolved. So organization have felt that, okay, this is the person that can be groomed. Okay. Yes. Rather than, dragging me throughout the HR, throughout the life, they have curated this path for me. So when something has been done for you, you try to replicate that in your system, and that's what we do it here. So if I see my, housekeeper who I feel that, can be groomed to a director of a room, there is an individual development plan. Rather than having those plan which is already available, yes. Oh, you join this plan, it's a 9-month program.
So something tailored to them.
Yes. For women's, we have got Inspirit program, which is hire-driven program, wherein, any female colleagues who feel that, they want to grow to a next level of an assistant manager or manager or general manager, they can join this program. They have dedicated mentors for them, okay, and a mentor chosen by them. Not like, okay, I will be choosing my mentee. They are the one who is going to choose the mentor.
So a big bottom-up approach rather than being told that this is what you'll do.
Absolutely. So it is, the employee who are interested, they would choose that, okay, I want, this person as my mentor.
Right.
It can be an area GM as well.
Yes.
So that's what we do it. So it's enough flexibility that we have it within the system wherein colleagues takes the decision rather than the organization takes the decision.
So a slightly more personal question for you. You talked about having to take on these multiple roles, a wider understanding of the business. Are there any other big learnings that you had personally as you grew into this role, or maybe something you unlearned as you grew into this role?
When you talk about, from when I was in HR, and I'm still in HR, I should say, from a non-operational leader to an operational leader itself is a journey.
Right.
There's a lot that I've learned in this program. I was business acumen for that matter. I was just looking at it. What are the goals related to the HR? And I used to ensure that, out of those 10 goals that we have it for the entire hotel, entire unit,
Yeah.
I used to identify my 3-4 KRAs and I would say, okay, I will focus on this. Now the lens has changed. Now things have changed. All 10 goals are mine.
Yeah.
How I or how
And you
my
can't cherry pick
department
and say this,
is going to
this.
contribute to ensure that we achieve all 10 goals.
Right.
So now that approach of I has changed to we. That is most important, because unit level we think about it. Being an executive committee member, it is important for us to talk about we, how we are going to achieve it, rather than how I am going to achieve my goals.
There's still a me in team though, by the way. You can't spell team without it.
Oh yes, agreed.
Before I let you go though, just one last question. If I had this hypothetical time machine that I could build for you, you get into it, talk to a younger Ranjana Pal, give her some words of advice or wisdom or learning, what would those be?
One is, don't get afraid of taking risk.
Okay.
Be bold enough, the way, the risk has been taken throughout. Embrace lifelong learning. Passion for people, being HR, that is something which is most important.
Yes.
Adaptability. Knowing the business that you are in is most important, for any individual, whichever department the individual works for. These are the thing, and walk the talk is most important for any individual, because that's what I talk about, practicing ethical leadership. If you have that, the people would follow you. You need to keep inspiring people. That's what the trend that you will set in the organization.
Always good to just talk about being inspirational and guiding people in that direction. Thank you so much. It was lovely. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for being part of this
Thank you very
episode.
much. Thank you.
Human resources is a critical bridge between leadership and talent management, armed with the responsibility of fostering people management. And my conversation today with Ranjana Pal was eye-opening and extraordinarily enjoyable. I hope you too enjoyed this episode of CXO Chatter, and I'll see you in the next one.